Hey, I'm still here in San Diego, and I'm spending a lot of time with friends, so that means I'm eating out a lot too. And I need to go through my refrigerator and see what I have so nothing goes to waste. I hate wasting food. So I have a whole bunch of cilantro, some green onions, a lime that has definitely seen better days. I have an avocado that needs to be used up very soon. I have half of a can of black beans. I have some pasta and some Mexican Cotija cheese. And I think this will cook up nicely into like a Mexican pasta dish. So I'm pretty sure you guys are already aware of my love of one pot meals. And so this is going to be exactly that. No need to clean extra pots. So with the cheese, I'm just going to kind of chop it up. You could probably also just use your fingers. Let's see how well that works. Yeah, using your fingers just to crumble it works really well, actually. So probably better to do that rather than do little slices. Looks more authentic if it's kind of broken up rather than cut up with a knife. So I almost forgot. Jalapeno and garlic. You could skip either one if they bother you. Jalapeno, I have one here that's getting a little soft, so I'm going to use that for sure. If you would prefer, if you like spicy and you prefer to sub it out, if you don't have one, you could just put a little red chili flake, some red chili flakes in there. And you could also sub out the fresh garlic with some garlic powder if you'd like. Either would work just fine. But since I have these, we're going to use them. Everybody has their own way of peeling and cutting garlic or processing garlic. So I'm just going to show you how I do mine, just in case this is helpful for you. So take 1 clove of garlic and 1 large sturdy knife, and you place the knife over the garlic clove and you just slap it. Sorry, that rocked the camera. And the skins come right off in like 1 piece usually, or 2, that is. And peel off the skins. And you don't have to, but there's this little dry bit on the end. I just take that off too. And do the same to the second. Pound it. So one thing to keep in mind, I'm going to cook this dish very quickly. It's only going to be in the pan maybe about 10 minutes, which is great because you could have a meal in no time at all. But what you want to keep in mind if you're going to do this is that you want things cut pretty small or pretty thin, like the vegetables, because they're not going to be in the pan long enough to cook all the way through if they are too large. So chop it up fine. So you could definitely add or subtract vegetables however you see fit. Sweet red peppers or green peppers or yellow peppers, they would be nice in this dish too. I'm going to stick with my spicy jalapeno pepper, but feel free to mix it up. Now, if you want less heat, then remove some of this inner membrane and some of the seeds. I usually just take the largest chunk out. And I don't worry about, the few extra seeds that are left and the membrane. But I like to take out that largest piece because I like it spicy, but I don't like my mouth to burn. Well, I like it to burn, but not too much. So again, Just trying to slice this up sort of thinly. And as you can see, I am running out of cutting boards, so I'm not going to dirty another one. So we'll make it work. Yeah, you want these kind of small. And that actually might be too much. I might just use half of it actually, and use the other half for something else later. But I'm just gonna cut it up in little dice. Another thing to keep in mind when you're chopping up spicy chilies, and maybe you all have experienced this already, but never touch your eyes or any sensitive parts of your body after chopping a chili pepper. You know, jalapenos, they're not always super spicy, but you will feel it if you rub your eye or, you know, touch yourself, you know, put your finger in your nose, or who knows what you would do, but don't do it. After chopping that, wash your hands. Wash them very well, because you will regret it if you do not. So you could also use the queso fresco, which is the fresh Mexican cheese, but that is a little bit bland, and it's delicious, but it doesn't add a lot of flavor to anything. So this cheese in particular has a lot of flavor. It's saltier. Like I said, it's a little bit more like Parmesan cheese. So this will add a lot of flavor. So that's a pretty pan, and it hasn't even started cooking yet. So I'm going to add just a little bit of olive oil. Not much. So just to recap, I haven't added the cheese yet, the green part of the onion, or the cilantro. You know, some of those things work their way into the pan a little bit because I put them all on one chopping board. But, you know, it's not an exact science. It doesn't really. And of course I haven't put in the black beans, the lime, or the avocado yet either. Those will come in a bit. So I'm just going to put a little bit of salt in. Used Celtic sea salt. And I'm going to put in some water. And I don't want you to stress out about measuring here. I've said before, I don't like to measure. So I'm just going to put some water. You can add more later. It's no problem. There's also, you know, a decent amount of juice in the tomatoes, so you don't want to add too much water. So I just put this under medium heat, and I'm just going to let it sit for a little bit. So it's only probably been about a minute so far, and we're already bubbling here. So I'm just going to stir it. And I'm going to kind of work those tomatoes a little. We want the juices from the tomatoes. We don't want to smash them completely, but give them a little smash, because we want all of that juice from the tomato. It's going to add a lot more flavor to the dish. Give them a little smash. So I wanted to mention too that you could add chicken stock instead of water, or any kind of stock you want, vegetable stock, if you want to keep this vegan or vegetarian, and those would work really well too. So take a look at the pan. Starting to get a little dry in there, so all I'm going to do is add a little more water. And as always, continue to try to get all those little flavor bits off your pan. You don't want to leave them in there. So after you add a little more liquid to it, make sure you get all those little bits up, because that is a lot of flavor that you do not want to leave behind. So you definitely don't want to burn things or overcook things. So about halfway through, I usually just turn down the heat a bit, and it'll still stay really hot, but it'll help it from not overcooking. So after about 8 minutes, give a little test to the pasta. I can tell just by touching it that it's still too firm, so it's got a few minutes to go. And you might want to add a little extra water. So at this point, I'm going to put in the black beans because they really just need to be warmed. They don't need to be cooked. And I'm going to squeeze a bit of lime over it while the heat is still on. Be careful not to lose the little top bit in there like I just did. Just going to squeeze it in. I'm also going to reserve the other half of the lime to serve with the dish in case somebody wants a little more lime. So now I'm going to turn off the heat, and I'm going to add the rest of the cilantro, green onions, and then we'll be ready to plate this thing up. That was even better than I thought it might be. Do I have anything on my face? Because I chowed down. So this dish turned out even more delicious and even easier than I thought it was going to be. I don't cook a lot of pasta, but now that I realize that I can cook it in one pan. Don't have to boil it. Just throw it in a pan with some other ingredients and a little bit of water. It's delicious. And I'm going to be trying some other pasta recipes. And so make sure you check back again, because I'll be making some more interesting dishes. And thanks so much for watching.